It's easy to tell everyone else what to do, but what are some of the actual challenges you faced as you moved into upper management? I don't want to hear about what people could do or what they should do. I want to hear your actual experience. Put your money where your mouth is. Tell me real scenarios. Tell me the challenges that you actually overcame. Talk to me about your firsthand experiences. Let's stop talking about hypotheticals. Let's talk real world. Okay, if you want my thoughts, I'll give them to you. Put your seatbelt on. It may be a bumpy ride. After years as an engineer, my path to upper management happened quickly. It was like I went from high school to the pros. As an engineer, I delivered on several high-profile projects that resulted in me being promoted to management. But my mindset didn't change. I was still doing engineering work. I was still delivering. Then after a short time, I was promoted to director. Now, I was in upper management. It happened fast. It was a blur. But this scenario may be similar to other achievers out there. As engineers and developers, we solve problems. That's what we do. I never intended to move into management. So when I got that first promotion, I continued to do the same things, to solve problems. Then I quickly moved into upper management, completely outside my comfort zone. As with any new job or performance, you have to learn new roles and responsibilities. But we've all done that before. Sure, we learn new stuff, but it's not really a new experience. My first real test came when I was forced to take my hands off of the keyboard. Think about that for a moment. I have a director title. I'm known throughout the organization as a director, yet I was still working as a senior engineer. I was still in the weeds trying to solve technical issues. After all, that's what I was used to. Transitioning away from the keyboard was a huge challenge. But think about it. If I was heads down working through technical issues all day, who was leading the vision for the department? Who was ensuring that we were moving in the right direction? Who's making sure that we have the budget to do the things we need to do or the resources to deliver on our promises? I had to learn to delegate work to others. I had to learn to trust the people around me. Simply put, there was more work than any one person could do, no matter how good I thought I was. If I was drowning in work all day trying to do everything, it meant that I was also neglecting my responsibilities. So in my experience, moving away from the keyboard was a real challenge, something that you shouldn't take lightly. If you're a subject matter expert or senior engineer like I was, then you're used to delivering solutions. Imagine a world where you suddenly didn't have time to touch a keyboard. How do those problems get solved? Now you get the idea. It's a serious shift to your mindset and the way you work. Again, it's something you don't want to take lightly. Then once you get past that, a whole new world of challenges open up for you. Essentially, everything from this point forward is all brand new. But to talk specifics, an early hurdle for me was judging my own performance. It seems so trivial, something we all take for granted. But let's be honest, you know if you're doing a good job. You know if you're putting in the work or if you're spending all day chatting with people in the halls. You know if you're delivering the goods or if you're delivering garbage. It's all second nature. And if you're doing a stellar job, no one knows it more than you. But when you move away from the keyboard, suddenly everything's different. For example, I remember spending weeks trying to evaluate which projects would provide the best value, which initiatives would return the most on our investment, planning how to best utilize everyone's strengths. You won't believe how much time this stuff takes. I was flying all over the place to get FaceTime with other business units, to build bridges, to enhance partnerships. But at the end of all that, did I actually make a difference? I worked hard to do all this road mapping and planning. It took me several months. But what did I actually deliver? A roadmap? A piece of paper? I didn't move the needle at all. Yet, all eyes were on me. I'm the entry point for the entire division. I'm under a ton of pressure and scrutiny. Executives want answers from me. But what have I actually been able to deliver? It felt like I was only delivering lip service. Remember when I said, if you're doing a stellar job, no one knows it more than you? Well, this was the first time in my career that I didn't know how to measure my performance. Was I doing a good job? This takes some getting used to. I can't exactly build my reputation by resolving issues on the fly like an engineer, for example. In management, things move much slower. Now, I have to set the table, advise everyone what we're doing and why it's a good idea for the company. I have to provide the delivery dates for these initiatives, then ensure that the team marches towards that goal. And while keeping people informed is great, the team must deliver. That's essentially how I'm measured, and that delivery date may be a year or more out. So you see what I mean? It's a long and drawn out process. And over that period of time, people will see the effect that you have on your team. It's when you start having an impact on your teams, well, that's when you'll know if you're doing a good job or not. So there's no metric for this. Even more challenging is the lack of feedback. If you're a developer, you can check in code and know right away if it works or not. But in upper management, there's almost nothing that provides instant feedback. And the times that do, we call them resume generating events. Let's face it, if you're planning, road mapping, and driving your team to an outcome, it's going to take several months for you to get there. How do you know if you're headed in the right direction? Your team is delivering what you requested, but it's your vision, your plan. No one's going to know it more than you. So how are you going to get anyone to provide feedback? That means you have to actively seek out feedback. You have to constantly reinforce your plan to ensure that everyone buys in. Everyone has to share the same vision in order to be able to provide feedback. The last thing you want is to waste months headed in the wrong direction because you weren't aware of this or that. If it took you 3 months to get the feedback you needed, does it take you another 3 months to get back on track? When the feedback loop is so slow, it's difficult to make adjustments. That's why it's imperative to actively seek feedback in order to make these necessary adjustments. I didn't realize the effort it takes to get the information you need in order to make solid decisions. Welcome to Upper Management, where your decisions make or break your career. Remember when I said I never intended to move into management? And while that's true, I remember Googling things like how to become a CEO, then reading people say stuff like, obtain your degree, get experience, but there's never any real information. This is all real-world stuff, behind-the-scenes information. If you want more real-world insight, watch this video to see how I got to where I am today. I lay it all out for everyone to see, and if someone benefits, it was worth it.